Welcome everybody back to Stephen Sully Study. I have a game-changing interview which is about to happen. My next guest is a heavyweight boxer, pro boxer. He was featured on the Game Changers documentary, which is on Netflix. And there's a bunch of other stuff we're going to be talking about. So Bryant Jennings, thank you very much for coming on board.
You're welcome, man. Thanks for having me.
So as I mentioned, there's a few categories I want to talk about. But I know, first of all, you've travelled all the way down from Sheffield, right?
Yeah.
And you've been in camp over there, have you, for Anthony Joshua? I don't know how much you can talk about it because obviously his fight's coming up.
Yeah. I've been in camp with AJ.
Yeah.
It's going well.
Yeah. Okay. What? I mean, I'm sort of jumping here, but what's it like sparring someone like him?
Well, it's like for me, I bring a lot to a person's camp.
Yeah.
I only really work with just two fighters, which is Derek Chisora and Anthony Joshua.
I've seen some wars that you and Derek Chisora. Yeah. I mean, literally, you're on each other's chest the whole time.
Yeah. But it's real. It's a real good exchange. Mm-hmm. Basically, I bring a lot to the table because of my athleticism, my experience, my late start in boxing, and my mindset and my IQ. And for AJ, he brings the same, but it's almost like a student.
Yeah.
And just as well as he's learning from me, I'm learning from him as well. But it's more like conditioning the superstar.
Yeah.
Instead of I'm switching roles now. I'm conditioning the superstar instead of me focusing on me being the superstar. So I have to get out of the mode and get into, work mode, teaching mode, and inspirational mode. Yeah. And it works well because he's a good dude.
So I actually, funny enough, with my podcast, I went up there to interview Richie Woodall.
Okay, yeah.
Fantastic setup they got up there, and there's some good champions that have been sort of born and bred around that kind of area. Okay. So let's talk about your background then. So obviously you're from the States. Whereabouts in America?
Philly.
Philly,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, North Philly to be exact.
Okay. And how come you got into like boxing? Was it always boxing or was it other sports to begin with?
Nah, it wasn't always boxing, but it definitely wasn't any other professional level sports, even at a collegiate level. There weren't any sports that I played. I just was an athletic person, just walking around, doing certain things, living life, having a great mixture and being very diverse in life. And it was just a moment in time where I felt as though I still had something in me that could be able to catapult me into a level of success. And in America, basically, it's just music and sports. Other than that, it would be the input of over a lot of years, of particular education in school and stuff like that. But other than that, right off the fly is music and sports. And that was something that I knew that I still had, my athleticism. I was a high school star, never made it to college. So speaking of me as being a former football player, it's like, nah.
Yeah.
So, I believed in myself, and I had a lot of different good qualities and characteristics that I knew that I had what it takes to be whatever I wanted in life.
Nice.
And I did that.
Yeah, I love that determination. Yeah. So, I've been to the States a few times. I've been to the typical places like New York, Miami. I've been to LA. I've been to Vegas. Okay. But Philly is never one that has ever sort of, being from London, it's never popped into my mind, and I thought I really want to go there. Hopefully now, if you can tell me a bit about Philly, I mean, is it what is it like there? Is it a rich place? Is it kind of a poor place? What is it like?
Nah, Philly's definitely a rich place. Philly is the capital of the American Republic, and Washington D.C. is the capital of the United States of America. But that's two separate entities. But Philadelphia has a lot of history based on the country's the way it began. It was actually the first city. So it's definitely a rich city. It's definitely a city where a lot goes down. It just has a lot of surrounding neighborhoods and surrounding urban communities that don't necessarily carry the safety place, thing of the city of Philadelphia. But for the most part, downtown every downtown is good. You know, if you get a city where the downtown is bad, yeah, then you might not need to visit that city. But the downtown is good, has a lot of great areas. And you know, pretty much just like any other city, you know, the inner cities and the more populated areas of those particular cities, you know, you would get crime. You know, in Philly, you know, you may get a lot more than the average city. But look at places like Chicago, which is a very large city, and certain areas of Chicago are not to be visited. Period. And that's just the reputation that these particular cities go. But Philly's cool. Philly's rich. There's a lot to do in Philly for the tourists, but you know, for the person that lived there, we can care less. Like I've only been to the Liberty Bell when I was in elementary school, and then you know, being of you know of a particular descent, and me not believing in a lot of this stuff, we can care less.
Yeah.
So it gets worse, but Philly's cool.
Is there a big boxing culture there?
Yeah,
and a community?
Yeah, Philly definitely has a big boxing culture.
Hence the Philly shell.
Oh yeah,
The shoulder roll.
Yeah. You know that I adopted pretty well, and there's a lot of gyms in Philly. There's a lot of great fighters, that come from Philly. Heavyweight wise, it's really a drought. We have a few heavyweights that are, maybe a couple, maybe one or two, that are doing well. The history of heavyweights in Philly is pretty good. But as far as boxing and sparring and stuff like that, it's pretty good. Philly, I think mostly all of our guys go to other places, and cause havoc. And then they say, where you from? And they say, I'm from Philly. Wow. So we bring it to wherever we go. But basically, necessarily inside of Philly, it's great. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of culture with the boxing, but it's not as good as it used to be.
Was you an amateur before you turned professional?
Yeah, I was an amateur.
What was your record like?
I had 17 fights, which was 13-4. It was one fight that I knew I really didn't win, but that actually allowed me to go to the National Golden Gloves. And within my whole amateur career was just 8 months. 8 months, 17 fights.
Wow. Packed a lot of fights in that time.
17. Yeah. Three national appearances in the tournaments. I had one where I was the silver medal for the Golden Gloves, and that was 5 months after I started. So that was something crazy. I started in January, and by May I was in the Golden Glove finals.
Wow!
Yeah.
Congrats, man.
Yeah.
So when did you turn professional?
I turned pro February of 2010.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many fights you had so far?
28.
28.
I really had to practice that because I really stopped counting.
Yeah. So you're obviously known for fighting Klitschko.
Right. Yeah.
And you took him all the way, right?
Yeah.
12 hard rounds.
Yeah.
There was moments in that fight which when I've watched it back, I felt like you could have easily caught him and maybe taken him out.
Yeah.
What was that like fighting someone like Klitschko?
Well, it was very afterwards, because basically when you're going through the motions, like you're not there, but afterwards I felt as though it was something that was very emotional afterwards. It was something that I wish I had experienced from a different perspective, because the fact that I was in it, I was zoned so much. I trained so hard, and I was zoned so much that I didn't really take in consideration of where the fight was at, the magnitude of the fight. There were times when, fight week, we're in New York City, and, Times Square is like all of these billboards and big screens and stuff like that. And I'm walking with my crew, and we just like looking up like, wow, every other block or not every other block, every other television, every other screen, you see me. And I'm like, wow.
What's that like?
It's amazing, but I was in the moment, and I never got a chance to really view that from a different perspective. By that time, it was too late. So even now, I always recommend, like, back, man, if if somebody was there at the fight, like if you was there, send me some footage like
Yeah.
of the crowd. Like send me like what it looks like, what it felt like. I want to know what it feels like to view someone that you even know or that you support, you know, that had this type of magnitude, because it was amazing. Like you figure, started boxing 2009, turned pro 2010, 2015. I'm fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world for all the belts except for one.
Yeah.
Wow, against Vladimir Klitschko. You know, for people that are into boxing. A lot of people got into boxing because of me.
Yeah.
You know, and he said, "Yo, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be paying attention to this boxing." You know, so I brought boxing to a lot of hearts.
So like I always like to ask athletes like the mindset then, and also dealing with like the pressure. Obviously seeing your name in lights, you know, fighting another big, very, very big man. Someone's got all the belts, bar the one.
Right.
Someone that has had a phenomenal, you know, boxing career. With all that stuff, and even the money involved in endorsements and everything else, how do you cope with that kind of pressure?
Well, I was away. You know, I did my whole camp away. I did some of it in Miami. Was back and forth because in Miami in the beginning I worked with Lennox Lewis. He's a good friend of mine. I will always thank him for that. And a lot of the time I was in Houston, so you know it was back and forth. You know, Houston, Miami, and then you know doing like promotional things. You know, moving around. So I really wasn't at home like in Philly. Like if I was in Philly, the gyms would have been packed. You know, the gym would have been packed every day, and that's something that I could probably kind of like regret in a sense, because like I wanted people to be able to share that feeling with me, or I wanted to share that feeling with people. You know, people that would say, "Oh yeah, be wise in the gym today. Yeah, we going up there," and it's just I needed that. I might have needed that energy, but I'm a type of person that I can create the energy that's needed for myself, but I'm just imagining the extras, extra energy that I probably even missed out on, or you know, or passed up on, and I would have liked to, you know, been able to feel that energy.
Yeah,
you know, but it's cool because I'm a cool, level-headed person, and the preparation and all that is really just something that I just practice every day. So I can't really get too out of it because of my focus and my discipline.
yeah. Well, it's a lifestyle, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lifestyle, but it's practice. You got to practice it. You know, if you don't practice, then you lose yourself.
Yeah. So just touching on that then, I mean, the training and also the nutrition and also your recovery, obviously they're all important, but what do you think is the main factor towards being a great athlete, a great champion, or more importantly, a great boxer?
What from me and my perspective?
Yeah, what would you say is the most important thing? Is it the diet, like keeping it on track?
I mean, for me, it's different, you know. But I mean, if you want the perspective from me, like for me, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but yeah, if you want what I think about what my career is, you know, its best, you know, addition. What I think is my focus and my discipline. You know, because there's a lot of things that I grew up around. You know, I got friends that do things that I don't do. You know, I got friends that are, you know, addicted to things that I never thought I could ever be addicted to, and which I'm not, of course. But you know, not to place any judgment. I'm just saying these are things that I grew up around. I grew in. You know, I was inside of something, and inside of a particular area, or inside of a particular bubble where everything went on, and it was my focus and my discipline that kept me away from all of that. You know, besides that, you know, my work ethic. You know, I'm always, even down to this day, like, oh, you got something you need to build. You know, I'm building it. You know, you need help with something? Oh, I'm helping you.
Yeah.
You know, I have to work, or I have to move around. Everything, I turned everything into an exercise.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of my success, you know, basically because I was started already. So the fact that if I started boxing one day and within 30 days I had my first amateur fight, it's like this guy must have came to the gym in shape already.
Yeah.
You know, this guy came with a six pack. I came, you know, being able to run 10 miles. You know, I came in the game already physically fit.
With the foundations.
Yeah, with the foundation. And, but diet came a little after, even though I grew up in a household where we didn't eat sloppy,
Yeah.
it's no pork, there was no, I mean, all kids sneak junk food. We do what we do. Even some of the best athletes anyway in the world, they eat like shit. So it's like, but for me, that just like, that was a part of my elevated focus with the diet and stuff like that. And that's going to carry me over time and not necessarily throughout this whole boxing thing. But the recovery is definitely good though. I think the recovery is good.
Like ice baths and things like that, or the cryo chambers.
Well, yeah, ice bath, cryo chambers. But I'm just saying, like, your diet, based on your diet, when you eat in particular things, you have less inflammation.
Yeah.
And when you have less inflammation, you have less pain in places.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that, I could credit to myself for now, being a 36-year-old fighter and having younger guys like, what, you only 36? Like how you still do that? And they hoping and wishing that they can be able to do what I do, when they are 36 or when they get older. So I think I can credit the diet and the focus still, to to that part of my boxing career and being healthy. But I want it to be over time, longevity. Like, fuck boxing, for real. I'm worried about what's going on afterwards and a day-to-day thing and just living life and enjoying the journey.
Yeah. For people that don't know a boxer's kind of regime or their routine, what is a typical training kind of, how do you typically train? I mean, obviously you're not actually in fight camp at the moment for yourself, but you're helping people. Right. What do you typically do as being a heavyweight as well? Because obviously weights and strength is a big part of it. Your endurance, your technical stuff. Right. What kind of stuff do you do?
I mean, so in the morning, early morning, first thing is, could be like, your cardio. Your cardio may consist of a lot of different things. And your cardio is basically your heart rate, getting your heart rate up so you can either run, do different machines, and, maybe even, shadow box or jump rope vigorously, and, something to get your heart rate up. And then, you rest up. It's nothing too strenuous. Never nothing too strenuous. And so, you may rest up, and then, afternoon, mid-afternoon is, boxing, technical. For me, some people do it in a different way, but these are the 3 workouts, particularly in a day. It's technical. You work on, your techniques and, pad work and hit the bag and all this stuff like that. You go rest up, and, you may come back for an evening session, which is, strength and conditioning. And the strength and conditioning, of course, it varies based on how your first 2 workouts went. You might not do 3 sets. You might just do 1 and get off of it. Go relax and get ready for the morning. And particularly your cardio. Your cardio should be every day, but particularly sometimes, like, if, say for instance, if a person is only used to running, then his cardio would be just running. But the running, you won't run every day. You may run 3 times a week. And so when you get into, like, when I came over here to London, even though back home in America, they kind of did it similar, but I came to a system where that was what they did, cardio pretty much every morning, something to get your heart rate up and something to get you pumped and working. And that's pretty much what that is. But that's like a full day, and of course you eat and you rest in between.
Yeah, of course. How come you did come over to London?
I came over to London for Derek and AJ. Okay. That's pretty much, whenever you see me here, I'm basically here for them. And other than, outside of, free time, which I rarely get a lot of.
Yeah. So you're over here full time for how long?
Well, I'm over here now until maybe like the first week of December. I've been here since October.
And you go back to Philly?
Yeah, and I go back to Philly, and then I have some plans afterwards. But yeah, I've been here for 2 months.
So 36 years of age, obviously had a great career so far. What is your goals and plans, your vision for the boxing career?
Yeah, well, that's good because as I said, when I went home, I had some plans. That actually rolls right into your next question, what gives me the rest of that answer, which is I intend to give myself 3 to 6 months of actual focus. And mind you, I had a conversation with this about this last night, and you know, I was always a focused person, you know, but I gave very little and I gained a lot. And I think in a sense that makes me complacent, you know, to where as though I'm always successful at, you know, because I have let's say for instance, if something is well groomed, he don't have to do much because the characteristics that's needed is it's pretty much he already has them, so he don't have to really struggle too much. So you know he can walk through and literally gain things because it's like, okay, I don't have to worry about this weakness. I don't have to make sure I get stronger at this. This person is a well balanced person, and that well balanced person was me. You know, so only thing I had to do was give a little effort, and I would always get a lot. So now I want to give a lot and not fear getting a little bit. You know, it's like let's reciprocate this because a lot of times, even in my career, you know, people would say, "Dang, you could have did this, you could have did that." I want to, you know, slow walk this thing. I ain't really sure, you know. And just the other week, Derek told me, he said, "You know what your problem is?" He said, "You got one foot in and one foot out." And I said, "Bro, I think I've had one foot in and one foot out my whole career, despite any level of success. I've always, even when I first started, I said, if this game is not for me, that's why I always took the hard fights. If this game is not for me, let me know now. Because if this game is not for me, I'm on to something else. And I'm always on to something else, even inside of my most disciplined and my most active moments in boxing. It's like I'm thinking like, all right, well, all right, look, no, I get this, you know, do this real estate or think about this and working on this and working on that. So I can never really sit still and never really like focus 100% on something, though it may seem as if, you know, this guy's on he's on his shit. Like he's like he stay focused. You see what he do. That stuff I've been doing. You know, tell me something new. I'm telling myself for me to bring something new to my life because everything I've always did is just what I've always done. And I came into boxing and just was like, okay, I've always worked out.
Yeah.
I've always pushed myself. I've always did that, and I didn't do nothing but learn the technique of it and just apply to everything that I've always done in my whole life to that. So I gave a little bit. Now I might have gained a lot. I gained a lot off of just giving a little bit, changing and adjusting a little bit. But now I want to give more. And basically towards the end of what I would project to be my, you know, the end of my career, you know, this is fourth quarter. So I basically want to be able to say, all right, you know what? I did what I wanted to do. I already did what I wanted to do, but now I have a new method of it. So giving more and not being afraid to receive less. So I have to give more than what I expect to get instead of, you know, giving a little bit. And I've always got a lot. I won the first half of my career or first 3 quarters of my career. I won. I'm winning. I already won. But now it's time to, you know, place that gamble. I still have things to fall back on. Like I said, I won. So I just want to be able to give more and not be afraid to get less.
Is there aspirations still of becoming world champion?
Yeah, the aspirations are to become world champion is good based on the accolades and the illusion of the whole boxing career thing. Because I look at people like Evander Holyfield, you know, Riddick Bowe. These are people that you know that I've seen over the times. You know, face to face, had conversations with Riddick a couple of times, and it's like, hey, like and Mike Tyson as well. All of these things that, you know, and I'm speaking on them three because they were basically they were at a high point and low. You know, me and Lennox are great friends, but Lennox does well for himself. He's one of the exceptions. But I'm just speaking on like a Riddick Bowe, a person that really doesn't have what he had, you know, when he had it. You know, whether it was the money, whether it was the fame, the notoriety, the respect. It's like I've watched greats get disrespected, you know. And even this morning on the Boxing Sweet Science page, Boxing Sweet Science 2.0, my homie Marshall. So he posted a video of Deontay, you know, knocking out Dominic Brazil, and he was just saying like, you know, please don't sleep on Wilder. He's still one of the hardest punchers. Period. And then, you know, within the comments they had, you know, pretty wide variety of comments, but not a lot of them is towards Wilder. And I'm just thinking, so start typing. First they love you, then they hate you, then they love you again. So the respect is not there. So it's just it's just something that I wanna be able to. I have to pay attention to that. I have to pay attention to it, and it's dreadful. So it really affects what I want. So that whole illusion of heavyweight championship of the world, all of the belts. Look at this. They bringing in a new division. The max weight for the new division is 224, and I'm like, man, 224. Like, whenever I get 224, I'm like, yo, I need to eat something. So it's like, damn. And people ask me, yo, would you want to partake in I think it's called the Bridge. You heard of it?
No.
Yeah. It's a new weight divivision.
Wow.
That's being projected through the WBC.
So what's that?
It's from 200 pounds.
What's that in stone?
Stone, maybe 15, maybe 14.
Okay. So that's between cruiser and.
Well, that's at the end of cruiser.
Oh right. Okay.
So I don't know what they're going to do with the cruiserweight division, but. So, in fact, I think cruiserweight will still exist, but I just think that there will be a division in between cruiserweight and heavyweight.
Okay.
And it's called the Bridger or something like that. It's basically
14 stone.
14 stone. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I don't know stones.
Yeah.
I know kilograms now, but I don't know stones. But they coming up with a new weight division, and I really just look at it and say, all of this stuff is just an illusion, because if you don't capitalize off what you've done, in the game, and what you brought to the game, and all of the effort that you gave to the game, if you don't capitalize off of it, you lose anyway, no matter how much you want. So I'm really not really intrigued on a lot of the titles. It's just for glory's sake.
Yeah.
If it happens, it happens, and if it don't, it don't.
So like, how important is like fame and the money and all that kind of stuff for you personally in boxing, or is that something you don't really think about? It's just you fight because you love doing it. Yeah,
fame is not important. Fame is only important based off of marketing. Your marketing, your branding. You need fame, so you have to find things that feed fame.
Yeah.
But when you have fame, finding things to feed fame and finding things to feed you as a person who you want to be portrayed as, you have to tread carefully, because sometimes you can do something that would take away from your character.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you want to be remembered as that?
Yeah.
No gimmicks, no cartoon characters for me. No, none of that extra stuff. I never did it, and I never seen the importance of doing it. Because I know for sure when you see me in the streets, or when you see me out and about, because I like to be normal. You see me out and about, I need you to respect me. Don't look at me and think that, you can say something and you can play with me, like, because I never played with anybody. So I need you to respect me. So all of that fame, the money is always there. Just like when Jay-Z said, what he said, the fame and the fortune, maybe not the fortune, but certainly it's my life. And we keep going. My pain and my struggle, the songs that I sing to you is my everything. But the money's always something that you work towards, because it's an exchange. I'm Russian talking. It's an exchange, and got slow down.
For value. You're giving people value by being in great fights, being in great shape, and obviously doing everything you can to win, hurt that other person, and in return you're getting paid just like any other career or any other job.
Exactly. You wake up, you go punch the clock, and at the end of the week or at the end of the work, you get paid. So that's just what it is.
Yeah. One of the reasons why I asked that question is because it's known in sports, especially in boxing. I mean, I feel that, if you're heavyweight or in a sort of heavier division, it seems like your career can go on for a bit longer, but it normally seems like when you're in the lighter sort of categories, it's quite short. So, I mean, sometimes people are retiring at 30. Obviously, you had someone like George Foreman, went on to be heavyweight champion at a very, very ripe old age. But nonetheless, even if your career ends at 50 years of age, it's still quite a short career.
Yeah.
So what's the kind of plans, or what kind of like investments, or what kind of opportunities are you looking to kind of dovetail into or roll into afterwards?
Well, I just think that over time, I learned how to live. And when you learn how to live, you know, a lot of things is not as important as you would think it is. So learning how to live, learning how to survive, you know, being a good person first. You know, and the money's important, but it's not more important than other things.
Mm-hmm.
So just because how I explained about money in the last question doesn't mean that, you know, money comes first. You know, money is just important because that was the topic of conversation.
Yeah.
But learning how to live is important. You know,
Yeah.
Having a trade, you know, having things that, you know, knowing your purpose, you know, doing things that, you know, that can occupy you, that can keep you happy, that can keep you smiling, having people around that can keep you happy, you know, keep you smiling, genuine love, feeling energies, vibrations, and frequencies and things like that. You know, those are the most important things. Those are the most important things.
Yeah, nice. Do you feel that even when you retire, you're going to still be a part of the boxing world, or would you think you'll go into something completely new?
Yeah, well, yeah, I would have, I don't know. I wouldn't mind, but you know, it's kind of too soon, and yeah, it's kind of too soon. It's definitely kind of too soon, but I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind it. But you know, to continue what your last question was, because I think I lost my train of thought and stopped. But real estate is one of the safest ways, you know, to be able to invest your money.
Are you doing that at the moment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I've been doing it. I've been doing it pretty much my whole life. My grandmama had me in it, you know, pretty much my whole life. And you know, the house I live in now is, you know, is owned, and I've been owning that, you know, mortgage free since I was 22 years old. You know,
I saw just to interject, because it just come to my mind. I read an article from a boxer. It was an unknown boxer to me. Can't even remember his name, but in there he said something very, very compelling just on this real estate property topic. Right. He said that his career was like 12 years, retired, and he turned around to a journalist. He said, "I'm still getting paid from my first fight." And they said, "What are you talking about? What, royalties?" He went, No. The asset I bought from my first fight is still paying me every single month. And this is the big difference between the liabilities that a lot of people normally buy when they start getting money and famous.
Yes.
And then or versus the assets, you know, which are going to continue paying you. So I'm in property as well myself, and I very much enjoy it. I want my son to get into it. I know he's only 2, but I'm taking him around the building sites at the moment just to condition his mind. And I personally think, I don't know what it's like in America or Philly, but I personally think over here, not enough is done in schools talking about assets and liabilities, and more importantly, in professional sports careers. I've had footballers on my podcast. I've had rugby players on my podcast. I've had plenty of boxers on my podcast. It's not really drilled into people enough, unless you've got the right team around you, that, you know, you need to pump your money into assets.
Right. Yeah. I've been blessed to be able to be surrounded. You know, well, not necessarily surrounded. Well, having a few good people, you know, on my side in my corner. You know, be able to, you know, that I can look to and be like, you know, whether I'm asking or whether I'm paying attention to them to see what they do. You know, even or. But you know, if I ever were to ask, you know, a very articulated explanation and, you know, a talk and a speech, and you know, the sit down would definitely happen. So I was blessed to have, you know, people like that on my side, and yeah, that's something that I really, that's one of my greatest assets is people, relationships.
Oh yeah, so
assets.
important.
Yeah, for sure. That's your greatest asset.
Yeah,
one of your greatest assets. Your first greatest asset is yourself and your health.
Your health, yeah. Definitely. So real estate, and then any other business ventures.
Well, sometimes you have to tread carefully. You know, a lot of people, oh, when you want to put money into this person, you want to be a manager, you want to do this, and I'm like, bro, like if I don't see it, it's nothing personal. I'm not investing in you. It's nothing personal. So I keep it safe. I keep it real safe. You know, I'm a very, you know, I have this saying where there's a difference between being stingy, tight, and cheap. I'm tight, but I'm not stingy, and I'm definitely not cheap. I mean, you know, I walk in here with a Christian Louboutin book bag, Louis Vuitton sneakers, and a Montclair coat. I'm not cheap, you know, but it's like, okay, how did you get that? You know, it's just like, all right, so I had to think about when I'm gonna buy certain stuff and be like, do I need to get it right now? And so that's the tightness in me, and being stingy, like, nah, I'll give whatever to whomever if needed. So you know, I'm pretty tight. So that's how I manage.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So changes subjects slightly. You touched on it earlier, but just going into it a bit more head first. I'm coming up to 2 years now, nearly. So I'm not fully vegan. I'm pescatarian. I stopped eating meat. I only have fish twice a week. And basically my goal is to whittle that down until I'm fully plant-based. And I had my comeback fight. In actual fact, Jules was there last year. My comeback fight, I fight for the Queensberry League. And I was at the ring for 6 years. And I had to get basically down to the same weight that I was back 6 years ago. So 2013 was my last fight before the one I had last year. Anyway, the point I'm trying to get to, I had to get down to 73 kilo. And I started eating just soup, just vegetable soup. And everyone was telling me, saying, if you're not eating meat, you're going to have any energy. If you're not eating solid food and getting all the calories in, you're not going to be able to win your fight and you're going to deplete yourself. I've got to tell you, the first 2 weeks, I will admit, I wasn't physically tired and I could lift the weights and I could do the run and everything else. The only thing I saw myself slacking in was sparring. Even my coach would turn around to me and goes, have you changed your diet or something? I said, yeah, because I could physically see the shots, but I couldn't move. But after 2 weeks, my body adjusted and then I had all this energy. And the reason why I'm so happy to get you on the podcast is because you are vegan. You're plant-based. Yes. Now, people are going to say that's impossible. Look at the size of you. You know, you're full of muscle. You know, you've had some great fights. You're very, very durable. You're a very, very fit man. You've got a lot of energy as well. You spoke about, you know, the frequencies and stuff. I picked that up from you as soon as you walked through the door. But for those people that kind of don't believe in the kind of plant-based lifestyle, what would you say to that?
Well, I mean, if you want a real quick answer, I would just say watch Game Changers.
Yeah.
But, you know, but just to let everybody know, it's definitely possible for you to excel, you know, in whatever sport that you do, you know, without eating meat. You know, it's very popular now, and I'm not the only one that, you know, that adopted a vegan plant-based lifestyle and was able to prosper. But the thing is also, I want people to get into their mind of being vegan doesn't help you overnight. It helps you in the long run. You know, it's
preserves your body.
It preserves your body. It's a mindset thing.
Yeah.
So don't become vegan because you're trying to get 2 more knockouts. Like, don't do that. You won't get 2 more knockouts. Trust me. You become vegan to say, okay, if I want to do this longer, this is a safer way for me to do that. You know, and if I want to, you know, what you want to be and who you want to be after your career is done. You know, you want to look well. You don't want no aching body parts, and, you know, looking bad. A lot of people are bad, and it's like, yo, like, changing your diet. You know, focusing on your health. You know, drinking a lot of water. You know, and moderately exercising. You know, helps that. Makes you look a lot younger. So I would just tell people that it's possible. It's possible, and I'm an example. And if they need more examples, then go watch the Game Changers.
Yeah,
you be on Netflix binge watching anything else. So go ahead.
I've literally seen it about 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
And my dad is a typical South London fella. I would say very old school, as far as old school is concerned in London anyway. And he would go to the cafe and have beans, sausage, bacon, white bread with butter on it, cup of tea with milk and sugar. I mean, that, and he'll go, yeah, of course I've got to eat that because that's what gives me energy, innit? Like, and he's that kind of person. But even when I got him and I forced him to watch the Game Changers, he came round a bit, which was good. So look, I would never preach to someone because, like I said, I am pescatarian, but I'm mostly during the week plant. That's basically what I have. I would never turn around to preach someone and say, you got to do this because that's the way you got to live. I would just say, like you said earlier, there are certain foods that create mucus and blockages in your body. Hence why people get heart attacks, why they get strokes, cancers, etc. And if you want to minimize your chance of doing that, then adjusting more to plants is definitely going to help you do that. And like you said, the recovery and the preservation of your body is going to come down to eating raw plant food. I mean, I have every single morning a cold pressed juice, which is only made of leafy greens, a little bit of fruit and some other bits and pieces in there, and ginger and stuff. I can't tell you how great I feel. And I don't even eat in the morning. People say to me, you don't have breakfast? I said, no, I have a cold pressed juice, and the only time I eat is after 12 o'clock midday.
Yeah, I didn't eat yet either.
Yeah, yeah. So when did you convert to being a plant-based athlete?
So fully plant-based right before the Klitschko training. So I trained for Klitschko 13 weeks.
Wow.
So it's relatively January of 2015. You know, that's when I went cold turkey.
Sorry, when did you fight Klitschko?
April of 2015.
15. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
So, like you said earlier, there is a culture now of people converting over to plant based. But back then, was you hit with a lot of resilience and pushback from people? They're saying, "Why are you doing it?"
Yeah, I would always, and I pushed it on myself, you know, because in 2013 was when I became vegetarian. You know, I stopped eating meat in August of 2013, and so I had to make myself a believer as well. You know, it was the stigmas and the negativity that was running through my head about, you know, dang, what's going to happen if I do this? And I was in dead smack in the middle of a great career. I'm just like, man, will this work? You know, and I was hesitant. And when I did it, you know, I just gradually went on to it, and I let all of me go 2013, and then was vegetarian for, you know, a year and a half or whatever that is. In 2015, right before Klitschko, right before the most important fight of my career, I'm just like, I don't need it. I don't need it. And I had enough time to be able to go through training, you know, and to say, because I really was just trying to see how long I can go, you know. If I were to feel particular effects, I probably would have, you know, had a piece of fish, or, you know, because I was already used to not having meat. I was comfortable with that, but, you know, that last thing was kind of mental, and I had enough time, and it never happened, and so it never happened, and I never looked back, you know. And I'm like, wow. And so the outcome of a Klitschko fight, who's to say if I were to get knocked out in that fight, will my mentality be so distraught and so disrupted that, you know, I'd say, yo, man, pass me that fucking burger, man. You know, or we about to go get a cheesesteak. I ain't doing this shit no more. So the outcome of that fight, my satisfaction with it, and that really played a part. And as I'm thinking that now, I didn't articulate that as it happened. I'm really thinking that right now like that, because that would be a great question to ask. If you would have lost in a bad fashion, it's like, would you would have still been vegan? That's a great question. But I probably would, but I probably wouldn't. I probably would have like relapsed and probably got back on it. But the outcome of that fight really made me say, yo,
yeah,
this is what I'm doing.
And you notice that you have more energy, would you say?
Well, I've always had energy.
Yeah.
But, you know, I still have energy. And as time go on, when I still have it, based on the fact that I really don't train like I should, you know, every single day, you know, like when you first started. Because after a while, once you get to a certain level of boxing, you're only fighting once a year, twice a year at the most. You try to get 3, and, you know, you go on a vacation, you made a little money, so, you know, you doing all these other things, so you're not working out as you should. So yeah, I lost the answer to that question. But.
Yeah. What was it? What was the question I just asked? Yeah, I even lost myself. I was listening to you so much, I forgot what even I said. Oh yeah, more energy.
So, right,
more energy.
Right, more energy. But, you know, you just I just think that over time. So over time is something that I feel as though, wow, this could be credited to giving me more energy, but I'm not. I'm not jotting down and recording the statistics of you know, my ups and downs of my whole physical career. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. But what I can say is that I still have energy. I still have a lot of energy. I still can run, 10 miles, but sometimes it's like, do I feel like it? A lot of it is mental. Of
course it is, yeah.
Like, I don't feel like it because I don't have to. So I'm not. Like, but if I had to, and if somebody was to say, yo, let's train for a marathon, I'm on it. I'm on it. I have to have the incentive and have to be influenced to do certain stuff. But I would still think that, yes, I have a lot of energy, and that being plant-based, gives you a lot more energy.
And was your decision to become plant-based? I know you said about preservation, longer career, more energy. Was there any other factors, or was it just that? Was there any of the animal cruelty side of it? Does that ever play a part?
Well, yes, that definitely plays a part now. But initially, that might not have played such a big part, because when you start to think and when you start to look around and see, the way certain foods are produced and what it does to the earth, and then you nah, I wouldn't want that to happen, and we become very ignorant to it. Of course, even for people that this is for the people that don't care about the animals, and it's like, it's not necessarily just the animals. It's really about humanity. Period. And all of the species. You figure how many species are going extinct? Like why? Like why would you want to hunt like an all black giraffe where there's only 5 of them? Like, or why would you want to kill off all the rhinos for the tusk or whatever, and for the ivory or whatever it is that they kill them? Why would you want to do that? Like, why do you want to hunt certain stuff? Like, just hunt things where it's billions of them. Like, when people hunting deer and things like that, it's like, okay, I'm vegan and all that, but I understand the aspect of it. But it's like, it's plenty deers. It's not even deers, it's deer. It's plenty deer. It's plenty deer. You can hunt that, but please leave the what's that called? The animals that are on the brink of extinction. Extinction.
Yeah.
Of extinction.
The rare breeds.
Yeah. It's a name for that, but I can't even bring that. Endangered species.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Leave the endangered species alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Leave them alone.
So, game changers then. I don't even know what the statistics are, but I know millions and millions and millions of people have watched it. And regardless whether people are plant-based or not, everyone's got a view on it. Right. I thought the production was fantastic. I thought it was really entertaining. I thought it was fucking educational. And it's part of the reason why I've kind of stuck to what I'm doing and becoming closer and closer to plant-based. How did that come about? How did you get the opportunity to be a part of that?
Man, I really can't remember. I just remember James. I think James either reached out to me or but I forgot how it happened. But I know James Wilkes. He reached out, and I think he was just saying that this is what he's trying to do, or this is what he's thinking of doing. I'm quite sure he was already in the middle of doing it, but that's just how it went. And I guess I was probably being considered, and
they obviously knew you were plant-based, yeah.
Yeah. But someone had to tell them because it wasn't so popular, and for me to say, oh, I'm plant-based or whatever. It started from that, and then it was like, yeah, well, had a couple conversations, and they asked me for a couple recommendations as well, and and I was like, I don't really know no real vegan athletes. They threw some names out there. They say, yeah, this guy. I said, yeah, I know him. Is he vegan? And I'm just thinking no. Next. because I was thinking, if I want to represent something, if I'm passionate about something and I want to represent something, who I recommend have to represent it just as well as I recommend it.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't want to recommend it to someone that that eats meat on the weekends, and then next thing it's debunked because it's like, they had him in there, and I was like, he wasn't he just at Outback Steakhouse, or it's just like man. So I really got immediately passionate about it, and that's how I am with everything though. I'm passionate about being truthful. You know, it's like if somebody's half-assed, it's like I'm not gonna recommend you. You know, and I'll tell you to your face like and I explain to you. And if you don't understand why I don't recommend you, then you have a personal problem. But yeah, so it was real fun. We had a couple conversations, and next thing you know, he said, "Yo, we coming down, and we're gonna do filming." And we did a whole day. Oh my, we did it all in one day. We did a whole day. It might even been a day and a morning. But we did the whole day. I directed a lot of my scenes, because they never really like filmed like a boxer. Of course, they were great at filming.
I just remember seeing you punching them tires.
Oh
just knocking them off.
Yeah. We had to get that last. That was the last thing that we did. You know, my trainer tried to make them. He tried to charge them. In fact, he did charge them. he did charge them. That's probably why I'm not receiving royalties right now. He charged them for that scene. That's a joke. But yeah, no, he. Do
you still get royalties for it?
We have a disclosure.
Okay.
The way so we can't publicly.
No problem.
On that. Yeah. So
just as it come up just then, I thought I'd ask that question. Yeah. That's all good.
Yeah, but yeah, it came about. We did it all in one day. We had a great filming session. A lot of the guys, still a lot of guys to this day, like even when we see each other over time, either at some of the premieres and things like that, and it's like a family. It's a family. I've never felt that way about something that was outside of what I normally would do every day, and what like the combination of all of us really it just was over time, but us being together. I probably only met everybody maybe like 4 or 5 times, but it's still like a family based on the fact of it was 4 or 5 times over a long period of time, and what we did, in each part of the world, and over that period of time, it just everything just grew. So it definitely feels like a family, like the Game Changer family is like, yo, like when we have a reunion, you see people and you be like, yo, I'm so happy to see you. He's like, yo, you only saw me 6 times, so what? I'm still so happy to see you. Like. But we created some great relationships, and it felt good.
I mean, it literally has blazed its own trail. That documentary. Yeah. I know there's other documentaries on Netflix which I've actually been afraid to watch, because going back to the question about part of your journey into plant-based, was it because of the animal cruelty? For me, that's part of the reason why I've gone into it, because I used to go to a restaurant and I would order steak, chips, and veg or whatever, and then over time, I found myself overthinking about the steak, and then I had to have a few glasses of wine, so I was like tipsy to then eat it, because I couldn't bear the thought of like something being slaughtered or dying. So there's obviously some documentaries on Netflix which expose that quite a lot, and I'm a bit afraid to watching that. But what I liked about Game Changers, that obviously they touched on certain things, but it was just done really, really well. What has Game Changers done to your own kind of brand and your own kind of profile? I mean, do people stop you in the street now and go, "Oh, you're that guy from Game Changers"?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. Game Changers.
More so than Bryant Jennings, the boxer?
I'm not gonna say more so, but man, it's quite a different feeling. It's quite a different excitement and stardom. When people see me and recognize me from Game Changers than it is from boxing. It's pretty much boxing is this men. And
because I was going to say,
you see the smile.
Yeah,
you see the smile coming.
Yeah,
but women all over the world, they say, wow. Like,
well, when I was driving here and my missus went, my wife, she said, well, who are you interviewing today? And I went, Bryant Jennings. She went, oh, a guy from Game Changers. I mean, she doesn't watch boxing really, occasionally with me, but she's not really into it. But even she knew who you were. Right. So you must have hit different demographics, and now more of a following from people that wouldn't typically follow a boxer.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And and even on my Instagram, I speak so widely, of my perspectives, positions of the world, positions of your attitude, motivational things, and it's like, dang, like this guy's not like I rarely have boxing on my page, so I'm kind of like this, this lifestyle person. It's always been a lifestyle. Even I had Elite Class was the whole lifestyle brand, and that's basically what it is, and that's how vegan started for me anyway. But yeah, it's just a whole lifestyle. So it's just it's very appealing. It's very appealing to receive such notoriety and respect and love. Even till now, so people still watching, and people that are all in all different parts, and I mean these parts are probably like they probably just getting able to see Game Changers now. So people in like Brazil, very small countries, I'm like, dang, I never even heard of this country. It's like, oh wow, that's a small country, third world, and I'm like, yo, it has to be something where they attended, or it has to be some type of release because they come in flocks. So it's just like, okay, 1 week I might get 50, 60 new followers from this country, 50 new followers from this other country. And I'm like, oh wow, like keep playing and research like that.
Because I mean, like we were speaking right at the very, very start about like fame and stuff, and I agree with what you said. You didn't say these exact words, but I think this is what you meant. Is this is my interpretation of it. Obviously, fame is great if you can do something positive with it. Sometimes people just get famous and they don't do anything, or it goes to their head. Yeah. And I feel that being a boxer, being a great athlete, fighting some incredible people, but then also Game Changers, you're going to get a lot more social following, you're going to get a lot more famous, and you're going to definitely get a lot more opportunity off of it. Right. Correct?
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't even call it fame at this point. When it's positive, you call it a platform.
Nice.
Because fame is the worst drug known to man. Like Jay-Z said, it's stronger than heroin. It can make you look in the mirror like, here I am.
Yeah.
Still not see what you become. I know I'm guilty of it too, but not like them. So fame is something that's, I would call it a platform.
Yeah.
I would call it a platform. And, basically the platform is positive. Fame is anything. Fame is, you could be famous, but what are you famous for? Same way as a platform, but more so platform is really, really associated with, positivity. And when people say, yo, you got this platform, they want you to express things that don't always be expressed based on the fact that you have a platform. But when you famous, people want to know why he famous. Oh, he famous. Oh, he known for this. And it's just too widespread. And people with fame that, of course, actually have a platform, they don't use their platform positively. So
yeah.
I like the word platform. I like that term better than famous.
Yeah, platform is definitely the better terminology.
It's the better terminology for that, for the positivity and for getting that word out there.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Right. There's a few reasons why I follow you. One, you're a boxer, and I'm into boxing, and I get a lot of inspiration. I get a lot of like motivation by watching boxers do their thing, training. I mean, like I said, I love watching over and over again, like them big wars that you have with Derek Chisora. That gets me excited. I just like watching it. And then I like your positivity. I like the way that you project feel good, positive vibes. I'm all about that, like that kind of that lifestyle, that mental kind of headspace. But then also, what I really admire about you, as I touched on before we started recording, is you're integral. You're honest, and you will speak your mind. And I feel that many people that are in your position will be honest to a certain point, and then they don't. They detach themselves. They call themselves honest or integral, but actually they stop here because it's going to affect their endorsement. It's going to affect that, but you don't. And that's part of the reason why I wanted you on the podcast. So we're in a fucking weird year, really weird year.
Oh yeah.
Now I personally believe there is such thing as Corona, but I believe that the problem isn't Corona, it's the media. And it's the people behind the media which are controlling the narrative. And I feel that that's kind of the same kind of mindset that you have. But in your view, because this links to Game Changers and also health and stuff.
Platform.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking on it.
Yeah. So what do you think is going on?
Well, I once had a post, maybe not too long ago. Conformity is cowardice. A lot of people allowing other forms of information, false information, to be able to conform them. The media is the main one, and it's the media is actually like illustrating, well, not illustrating, it's actually creating the new society, and it's creating a society based on false information, a lot of manipulation, and they're just literally just like weird people that's just in front of the TV, and they're just sheep, and they're just following something that they can't even like verify. And when something's verified, you get called a theorist, like a conspiracy theorist. It's like a conspiracy theorist is actually like a great thinker, trying to figure this thing out. And I would some things are best for it to be a theory because we don't know if it's true or false. So everybody has their theories, but your theory was based off of the media. The media told you what they wanted you to tell you, and you don't call that a theory. You call it fact. But when someone debunks it,
That's a
and comes
great
with,
way of looking at it.
yeah, when someone debunks it and come with just as many facts as the media did, but it opposes all of the media facts, and you call them a conspiracy theorist, and you're crazy. I know there's plenty relationships, friendships that ended based off of your thoughts and your views and perspectives on the world. They say never discuss politics, and now we have this thing, never discuss your perspectives on the world, because you can share two separate perspectives, and that can actually make you separate from a person, because we don't have the ability to like compromise, or for understanding or sympathy or empathy or whatever. We don't think to do that. But I just think that this whole corona thing is something else. It's something else behind that. And like you said, I believe that it's a real virus, and I believe that it may attack the respiratory system and all that. But I had this saying, right? I got a lot of sayings, right? So I had this saying or whatever, for lack of a better term, too, to where as though it's like if you have bikes in a front yard, no fence, right? No fence on the front yard, and you have a camera, and you walk by, and you watching your camera, and you see someone walk by looking, right? So you're looking, and you're like, all right, well, okay, they're just looking. And overnight, one of the bikes get taken. So you say, okay, I have to start locking my bikes up, right? So now you lock your bikes up, still no fence. And you look on the camera again, and you see somebody bolt cut it, take the bolt cutters, and they take one of the bikes again. You say, damn, I have to up my security. So now I have to buy a fence. So my whole thing with saying all that is, the analogy in that is, when things happen to you, right? And you're shitty, you have shitty health, right? And say, for instance, the doctor tell you, yo, you're at risk, right? So what you do is you up your security based on your body, on your body. You say, okay, I have a I can potentially lose this. So you eat better, or you do whatever the doctor says, and then when certain things gets more severe, you up your security. So this whole thing with the COVID, right? So it's like, all right, it basically said that older people with weaker immune systems. I gotta hurry up and get to this so I can get to the point. Yeah, but older people with weaker immune systems, and people that don't take care of themselves, these people care less. They care even more or less about their health. They thinking that if COVID is something that attacks a person with a weak immune system, and we've been telling you for years that eating right, diet, exercise, a lot of water, a lot of rest and things like that, it helps you strengthen your immune system. Therefore, things like this won't be able to get you. You won't be able to contract these diseases, or these viruses and things like that. But people are actually ignorant. They're getting more ignorant, and they're not taking into consideration the aspect of their health, to pretty much secure themselves and their health. So it's like people are that sleep, and they really aren't really paying attention to how they can survive in this world. they're running around crazy, and it's just like, yo, all you gotta do is do this. All you gotta do is focus on your health, and you can lower the chances of you contracting any virus or diseases and things like that. So it's very mind-boggling because these are some of the people that you love, and it's just like,
Of course.
you're looking at them like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've noticed. I had a conversation with a podcast actually over Zoom with Seb Eubank, Christopher Eubank's brother.
okay,
He's plant-based, boxer, also MMA fighter. And I was talking to him. I said, look, I've got friends of friends who are solicitors, they're lawyers, they're, very, very highly qualified people. But it seems to be them people who somehow are still under the spell, under this curse of what the media are saying. And then it's other people that I know which are not academically so smart, but they've got a lot of common sense almost. Like I know people need to like be cautious and almost look like they're doing the right thing, but it's like the masks. I mean, really? I mean, it's just a fuck. I mean, if it was such a bad thing, my take on the mask is actually they're actually worse because what do you do with a mask? You take it on. You put it on, you take it off, you're adjusting it, and if it's on your hands, if there's a contamination, where's them hands go? Right. They go on other people and stuff. So if you didn't have a fucking mask on, you wouldn't be moving it around. Right. You wouldn't be touching your mouth. How many times a day do you honestly touch your mouth bar when you're eating? You don't really, do you? But when you've got the mask on, you're doing it all the time.
Constantly touching it.
Yeah, so it's completely backwards. And here's my take on it. And there's always a counter argument, and I'm just frustrated because. Fortunately, my business is still carrying on. And actually, in actual fact, in COVID, we've done the best financially in the whole entire time we've been running as a business. Right. So thanks to COVID.
Thank you, COVID.
But there are other businesses, friends of mine, family of mine, that are not so lucky. They're losing their jobs. Yeah. So I'm really passionate about this subject. And at the start, when there was a lockdown, I understand. Didn't know what it was, less lockdown. I understand that. Right. Then they put in mandatory masks. If the mask fucking worked... Why is there a second lockdown?
Why?
Why is there a second lockdown?
Why?
So they can't obviously work. So somewhere down the line, they've got something really completely fucking wrong.
Right.
I don't know whether you believe there's the pharmaceutical aspect of it. Do you think that's the agenda? I mean, Pfizer has suddenly just shot through in 9 months a magical vaccine. I don't know whether that's part of the kind of agenda, or is there something more? What do you think on that?
I just think it's a whole plan anyway. So instead of it being a pandemic, the famous word that they recreated was plandemic.
Yeah.
I just think that honestly, they're shutting down, and they shut down all these businesses, and the only businesses that are open are bigger corporations. And it's like these bigger corporations are already owned by, they're like it's pretty much not one family, but it's a group of people that own just these big corporations. I know it for sure in America. You take some of the biggest corporations, and it's like, okay, they're not falling under. Like, this is where everybody gets. So say for instance, like we have something called Target back home. If all of the neighboring stores, all of the the mom and pop shops, the boutiques, the whatever the little stores that surround it, if all of them are closed, then everybody will be forced to just go to Target. And if you do this long enough, all of those smaller stores will go out of business.
Yeah.
And there would just be Targets all around.
Yeah, monopolizing.
And I think that's exactly that's one of the outcomes that's like obvious. You have a lot of other things that, that's like surviving, and you figure like Uber is surviving, Uber Eats, all of these delivery apps, they're surviving, and the delivery apps are actually crutching certain restaurants, because without that, these restaurants will go. Like, these restaurants will go. If it wasn't for these delivery apps, these restaurants, you can't go outside. You can't really sit down. I know back at home in Philly, the best thing I liked about the whole shutdown thing was that, when they did allow people to start, congregating and eating again in public, they had all outdoor eating. It was in the summertime, and it's nothing but outdoor eating. So instead of downtown looking dead, downtown looked its best
Vibrant.
because every restaurant became an outdoor restaurant. And now, you walk down the street and instead of people being on the inside, everybody that was on the inside is on the outside. So now it looks exciting. You're like, wow, this looks beautiful. People are all in the parks. But it's like, okay, that looks good. But still in the senses, it's like, okay, now for them to come with another shutdown, it's like, and then I don't believe people are like dying in all these cases. It was something that where if you Google, and I haven't done it in a while, but since it's reappearing, if you Googled any three numbers, right? Let's say for instance 926.
I think I've done this myself.
Right. You Google any three numbers and you say cases, right? So 926 cases, and so you go to Google and then say 926 cases in this particular city that's in America. It's like if you do 616, 666 new cases, and not cases. Now don't say cases, say new cases. So 926 new cases, and then they'll give you a particular city where apparently there's that many new cases in that particular city. I'm like, man, get out of here. Like nobody believes you. And then even during the time of like the whole protest when the whole George Floyd situation went out, that was like still like in the middle of COVID, but the numbers didn't spike.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden out of the blue after the election, all of these numbers are spiking, and I don't even know why England is on a shutdown.
Yeah.
Like why? Like especially like places like Sheffield, it's like, yo, ain't nobody outside as it is. And it's just like, yo, you want to shut this city down, and then there's no religious institutes for people. There's no entertainment, then they want you, like you said, they want you to wear a mask, want you to social distance. Like what's going on? Like who is behind all of this, and why are you actually doing it? So I like to rebel. I'm a rebel. I don't care. I don't. And sometimes, let's say for instance, so being as though now that I'm in a camp, and I'm working, I'm being around AJ. So when I get on the train, I'm like, you know what? I'll put my mask on just in case somebody want to call for me, and it don't have to be COVID, but it could just be a flu, or it could just be a little, a bug or whatever. Because I mean, they disappeared. Nobody says anything about the flu anymore. But I don't want to be able to pass anything on, to anybody that could actually, like cause his whole fight. But other than that, it's like I really don't care. I do not care. And if you're gonna kill me, kill me. If you're gonna put something out there to kill us, I'm gonna find a way to maneuver around it. And I hate these times. You have to be mentally strong to be able to readjust. But just think of the people that's actually going crazy. Like the frequencies in the air back home in Philly, I know for sure there's so many car accidents. Like I don't know what it is, but it's so many car accidents, and it's just like, why is everybody at rage? And it's definitely, we're projected to go over 500 murders for this year alone. And I guess 85% of the murders are gun violence. But it's like why is everyone is in such a rage? And this could be a whole plan, to particularly say, okay, well, we're going to drive this up, and we're going to take this away, and we're going to watch the effects. And everything is like we may be like lab rats, and it's just like, wow, like the lengths they go to try to like make us just. That's why I don't condone sheeps. I don't condone people that are just put your mask on. I'm like, man, shut up. Like, what are you talking about? Like, people that really argue in the street, a man, like, like you can't say something to a man. You can't offend a man that you don't know. Yeah. You don't know him. You don't know what he has in his pocket. You don't know what he's going to do to you. You don't know if this man is crazy or not. But somebody will really walk up to you. Like, I was in Whole Foods one day, and the guy walked up to me. He was just like, you think you're better than. He didn't know me. He didn't know who I was. Man, he really didn't, because he didn't know it. I probably would have smacked the shit out of him. But you think you're better than everyone. where's your mask? You put your mask on. And he followed me around the store. And I'm just laughing. I was in the Whole Foods. I was just laughing because I'm just like, yo, dude, he really don't know. Like, I'll either curse you out or I'm gonna put hands on you. But I'm just like, I'm laughing because I could be a very sarcastic person,
yeah,
and that's my defense, because I can get you angry. I want to get you. If you mess with me, I can get you angry and I can get you out of character. But of course, I have the qualities to be able to handle all of that.
Yeah.
Okay, you thinking you want to fight? I don't think that's something you want to do. So I can get you out of character, but I was getting that guy way out of character. He was pissed off, but I'm like,
I love that.
I'm like, dude, like, what type of passion would you have for something that the media is telling you to confront? He was an older white guy, not an older white guy. He was probably like 60, but it's just like relatively, in America, a white guy don't necessarily say anything to a young black man. Mm-hmm. It's just like, what are you going to say other than hi and something that's positive? Like they don't get the balls, and it goes the vice versa, the same way. You don't mess with people, but but when it's an older white man versus a young black guy, it's particularly you don't say anything outside of anything that's normal and that's nice to say. So where you get off at pointing your finger at me, and saying what I should do, like Whole Foods is still right down the street from the hood. So I'm thinking you do know where I'm from, right? You do know we don't go for this, but me being professional, me being a good person, I was able to just laugh it off and be very sarcastic, but it's driving people to just be insane. So what type of man would do that? You're very you're so passionate about this whole COVID thing that you approach a person and you're willing to get into fights, ladies getting into fights, supermarkets pushing carts, and the whole toilet tissue thing. Oh God.
Yeah.
I bet they still got toilet tissue. And what do you why were people out buying up all the toilet? I'm like, yo, people are crazy.
People thought it was going into Armageddon or something.
They've gone mad. Yeah. Yes. And yes, they've gone mad. And it's so ridiculous, but it's we need people like us to be able to, to keep a hold of what life, at least used to be. And, with good people, great character. And it's just yo, you know what? I'm not letting nobody. You ever saw the movie Demolition Man?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like Demolition.
Yeah.
It's kind of I don't know, man. Maybe they're going to freeze us for 30 years, and bring us out. But it's man, it's it's total control, and I don't like it whatsoever.
I've always been taught as a young kid to challenge things, not necessarily just to rebel against something, but more importantly, if something doesn't make sense in my mind, don't just accept it, challenge it. And that's kind of the definition of an entrepreneur. It's also a definition of a fighter, because if someone told you this guy hands down is going to beat you, he's the best thing since sliced bread, as a fighter, I would expect someone like you with your mindset to say, no, fuck that, I'm going through that guy.
Right.
And it's the same thing with business. I think to myself, well, that industry, that sector, has been running this way for so many years, but why the fuck can I not disrupt that? So when I'm looking at stuff on the media and I'm thinking, you're telling me a mask is going to stop the whole entire thing? That is the most load of bollocks I've ever heard. Social distancing. Oh, this is a crazy one, right? I was driving through Crystal Palace in order to get here earlier, and there was a park. And in that park, there was a public gym, no weights, it's like all body weight stuff. And there was a children's playground. The outdoor gym was taped up like it was like a murder scene, like you couldn't go through it because of COVID. But the playground you're allowed in. Now, where is the logic in that? You're telling me that the COVID will look at the gym and go, I'm going to attack those people on there because they're working out. That's the irony, is that's actually going to make you fit and healthy and more durable. Right. And the little playground for kids, I'm not going to go near that. I mean, like when we were allowed to go back into bars and restaurants, the only way you were allowed to drink alcohol is by sitting down. you couldn't stand up at the bar because apparently COVID lights out. There were so many. There's so many fucking inconsistencies with it.
You want to know what's a good one?
Go on.
Okay, you need a mask to enter into a restaurant, and when you sit down, you can take it off.
It's ridiculous.
It's just like, So if you say I don't have a mask, oh, you can't enter into the restaurant. Yo, just let me walk to my table, man. Like,
yeah,
like damn, like it's.
I was in Spain. We done an art show in Marbella, and Spain got very strict with the whole mask thing. In the street, you had to wear the mask, right? And there was literally a line, Bryant, no joke, where the port is, and there was restaurants, and in this line was basically you're either in the premises of the restaurant but outside, or you're actually on the public pathway. On the public pathway, you had to wear the mask. The moment you cross that line, but you're still outside, you were allowed to take it off. And you're more likely, surely, to catch something if you're with more people inside a restaurant, regardless whether it's inside or outside. There's more people around than in the street. And I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? And so many people that I would typically call intelligent are acting so fucking dumb.
Oh, so dumb.
And there's people like fairly young still. I'm 34 years of age. I still call myself relatively young as far as like business and stuff is concerned. And I would class myself fairly healthy. I'm pretty fit. And I know a lot of people like me. But yet, some of these people saying, I can't wait for a vaccine to come out because we really need it. I'm like, but hang on a minute. Why would you get a vaccine if you're fit and healthy? And we know that if you do get the flu or if you get corona, 99.96% of people survive it. Some people don't even know they've got it. That doesn't sound like a deadly virus to me.
At all.
So, and I think this year's demonstrated that a lot of people just follow. You know, if they're told something, they kind of believe in it. And I think part of my view on this topic is, regardless whether you're into coronavirus or not, I think it's healthy to challenge things and not be censored because of it.
Right.
You know, the good thing about a podcast, where it's not being censored, it's not being edited. We're having an honest conversation.
Right.
There might be certain things that I say that you might disagree with, and vice versa. But we're professionals, and we can chat about it. But the government or the media try and deter you from doing that, because they say if you challenge what the government's saying, you're wrong, and they want to shut you down, which is bad, man.
And you have people that'll turn you in.
Yeah, grasses. We call them grasses.
Yeah, they turn you in. It's like, damn, bro, like I'm trying to get away and you trying to turn me in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's conformity, and it's sheep.
Yeah.
Back home, I have a and then I gave two of them away. I have a unabridged dictionary, Webster's 1920 unabridged dictionary or whatever. And in that dictionary, it gives you proper definitions, and you'd be surprised how many particular definitions a particular word has. And we use a particular word in one way when it really means something else. But it stuck out to me what sheep, because over time I'm thinking like, okay, sheep is just something that it was like a metaphor, where sheep follow the herd, but so they call people that follow sheep. But no, that's actually the definition for it: a timid, meek person, that's up under a government that that follows. And I'm like, wow, like, so these things are actual terms, but a sheep is literally like, I really despise people who really don't question a lot of stuff. Like, I can't get people to eat a salad, but yet and still, they doing all of the negative stuff, all of the things that that take away from their health, and it's like get them out of here, like just go. And like, it really creates a separation, and you really become a more of an alone person, because it's like, I can't deal with this type of energy, I can't deal with these type of attitudes, these people, and then they call you crazy though. They call you crazy when you isolate and distance yourself from a lot of things, a lot of people, and they say, yeah, he crazy, he lost it. I'm like, because even with me going vegan, people look at me like, oh, you, and I'm like, what, I'm normal. I'm a normal person, and I've done just as many things as the gangster or the tough guy or the cool person. It's like I'm still that. I just changed my day. Like, what's up? Like, I have different perspectives. I've traveled all around the world. I've been in very diverse situations for over long periods of time. So okay, I've gained some insight on different ways of life. But don't look at me, don't view me as crazy just because I'm not necessarily thinking like you, thinking like the old way. Some people don't think. It's not really about me talking about people that's thinking a certain way. No, you don't think. People are not thinking, and they can't articulate thoughts, and they really just can't figure nothing out. And it's just sad. It's real sad because people are definitely acting like sheep. They are sheep, and they're going to follow, and they're going to try to like get you to follow them. When like, damn, so if somebody say, yo, wear the mask, do this whole thing, but I just had a whole campaign of trying to get people to better their health, but the people that's telling people to wear a mask, they have more people than me, and I'm like, my view and my thing was positive and it had proof behind it, but people were like, nah, I don't want to do that. So I'm like, damn, like it's very confusing. It's very confusing.
It's crazy.
I don't get it.
If this thing was about health and preserving lives, why the hell is there not more adverts about clean living? Why haven't they not put a ban on smoking and drinking? Ask yourself that question. Why have they not put a ban on junk food? Why have they not, why have they not done a lot of stuff? I mean, in South Africa, I've got a friend who lives over there for 6 to 8 weeks. When there was a lockdown, they couldn't buy alcohol and they couldn't buy cigarettes. And I said, well, fucking well done to them, because if it's really about health, then surely that's the right thing to do.
Right.
And also, rather than them saying about the amount of cases or the amount of deaths that happen every single, whenever, why don't they tell us about the amount of people that are surviving?
Right.
Why don't they push that a bit more? Because they're not talking about that. So look, I think we're on the same page on there, and then we can see through it. I know you're probably a very, very busy man, so I'm going to ask you a couple more things.
Well, yeah, no, I was just going to throw in this, I had a meme. That's the reason why I grabbed my phone.
Go on.
I only grab my phone and pull this meme up, and they say McDonald's wants you to use contactless payments because they care about your health. And it was a picture of Henry from the Goodfellas, just literally just laughing out loud. But it's just like,
is that on your page?
Well, yeah, it expired. That was a couple of days ago. But yeah, say McDonald's is worrying about people's health now. Like, oh, you care? It's like McDonald's is one of the places where people contract a lot of obesity and cancer and diabetes and things like that.
When you can later on, send me that. I like that. Yeah, I'm going to post that one.
Yeah,
that's good. Again, if it was all about health, there would be certainly other things that the media would be doing, saying, or advertising to make people healthy. Listen, just get yourself fairly fit, drink plenty of water, stay away from any acidic foods, stay away from alcohol, stay away from drugs, stay away from cigarettes, and guess what? You're going to be fine.
Yeah, you're going to be fine.
Unless you've had a very bad
pre-existing condition.
like a serious cancer. And look, listen, I shed a tear when I hear about it, because it's awful. But that's a very small minority. To the mass market people, you're going to be completely fine. Right. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. And if you're not going to be fine, it's you lower your chances. Because sometimes the media or who's ever behind it, they say you can't call certain things a cure. It's like, all right, well, we're not gonna call it a cure, but you can lower your chances of getting sick, and you can lower your chances of contracting anything. When you take care of yourself. So, because if you say it'll never happen, people say, oh, how you just gonna say it'll never? I'm like, okay, shut up. You lower your chances. That sound better, right?
Yeah.
So you'll definitely lower your chances, and you get some other great benefits alongside of it.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, I just wonder what's going to come out of all of this. They doing all this cashless, taking away particular currencies, and they putting it all on a computer. Like if all of your money is on a computer, where's the money? Like they already did it with in America with the money being legal tender, and it's like the dollars have no value, and it's just like they used to be backed up by silver and gold, but they have no backing anymore, and it's like so the money is almost like monopoly money.
It's like a theory, isn't
it's
it?
a theory. It's an illusion. It's monopoly money, but people still die over it, and it still has value until like there's also a saying in business and entrepreneurship is money sitting is nothing. Like your money has to move. Like scared money don't make money. There's a lot of different quotes and things that that hasn't something to do with money. If you don't make your money work for you, then you don't make money. And me, I have a saying myself. I got a lot of sayings. So I say it's not about how much you got; it's about how much you got coming in. So your money has to move because
Cash flow.
Money is liquid,
Yeah.
right? And money is water, right? So like a river. This is from Jordan Maxwell, right? So what he say? He said like a river has two banks, and cash has a flow, when he say everything on the water is a ship, and this actually is from maritime and admiralty law. Everything on the water is a ship, relationship, citizenship, sponsorship, and that's basically one of one of the first videos I watched.
Wow.
When I became woke to where so money is actually water, and it has to be flowing in order for it to be in order for it to be anything. Money can't sit still.
Yeah. One thing that probably a lot of people don't know about you, which I just stumbled across by chance, you can rap.
Oh yeah. I can rap. I could do a little something.
I saw you on the freestyle. You done it on your phone, and there was an overlaying tune, really cool, like kind of like minimal rap beat. And I listened to your one, and then because of that, I follow. I think you put a hashtag up, and then I followed the hashtag and started watching everybody else.
Okay, yeah,
it was sick. It was really sick. I really liked it.
That's good to see the to hear the outcome of hashtags. Hashtags are quite important. But I do. I kind of. I mean, it's still like a gift that I have, and you definitely have to practice it. But that's just something I do. I did before, and I just know how to do. I'm very passionate about music. Music is top 5 dead or alive. Like music is one of my top 5 things that I must have. So whether I'm creating myself or I need to be able to listen to music, it's the frequency, it's the sounds, the sound waves that that your body is pretty much used to. And I have a very I have great interests for a great variety of genres as well. Like it's not just rap, it's not just R&B. It's it may be some jazz, or maybe some other different types of music based on the fact that it's instruments. So instruments are beautiful sounds. So yeah, I definitely do a little rap thing from here and there, and I'm pretty good. Pretty good. I think I'm better than some of these rappers today. If I were to, link up with somebody to help me create songs, not write songs like a ghostwriter, but create the song, create some hooks and create some themes, I could do all the writing, and I would definitely do very well. But I haven't really took the time to dedicate myself to that because I'm just so busy doing everything else.
Maybe when the gloves are hung up, you might pick up a mic and you might see this new version of you.
Yeah, definitely. But you know what's so crazy is that rap music has an expiration,
right?
But R&B doesn't. Any other genre doesn't have an expiration. You can be 60 years old and still be a rock and roll star, but you can't be 60 years old and still be a rapper. It's just so crazy. Rap music has a short window, so they say. But you would definitely have to maintain your youthfulness, and rap. But so I don't know if at the end of my boxing career, really start being a rapper, because I'll be like that old rapper.
Yeah.
Even though the oldest rapper is still one of the best ever to do it, Jay-Z.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
but yeah.
So, just a couple more questions here before we wrap up. What advice would you give to, let's say, younger people, either trying to get into boxing, be an athlete, or maybe not? Maybe they just want to become the best version of themselves and they want to become maybe a business person or someone invest into real estate. What kind of advice would you give the younger generation for today's world?
Yeah, well, certain advice varies based on the fact of how people take it, and it becomes very difficult. I'm used to making things difficult. You ask me a simple question and I make it difficult. But yeah, it's just I would just tell, because some people, like what you were offered to some people, they might not have those qualities. Like when you tell somebody, yeah, be disciplined and be this. No, I'm not disciplined. But it's just like, my whole thing is, man, speak. I will only really have to speak to a certain like, because I have to speak to people that want it. So that's what I would say first. I say, so for people that want it, for people that want to learn, what it takes to be successful in anything. You have to first, practice discipline, because everybody might not have discipline. Practice discipline. Practice focus. Stay away from bad habits. Try your best to eliminate distractions. You see where I'm going? I'm saying all this because I can't really say eliminate your distractions. Well, it's hard. But so I'm just saying try your best. Because I have to be sensitive now with giving advice, because I'm fully aware of all of the differences and different backgrounds that people came from, and everybody's not the same, and it's not as easy. But try your best to stay away from temptation. Stay in school, or keep gaining knowledge. Focus on you more. Practice safe health. Focus on your health more. Just be stay around good people. I'm just, it's because it's so crazy, because I'm finding that very hard to do now. Because I'm so used to like leading by example. So it's just like, yo, whatever you see. What you don't, just ask. But and only people that really want to pay attention to somebody like me are people that really want it. So somebody really has to want it. And if you really want it, there's enough examples out here for you to pay attention to. So basically stay away from negativity. Don't do nothing stupid. Don't do drugs. Focus on your health. Focus on your surroundings, and be a good person. And go hard. And nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream. And even after you dream, you have to wake up sometime and you have to go and accomplish that.
Yeah.
Your aspirations in life are things that are to be attacked. Things that are to be when they're displayed, things that are to be strategized to accomplish. And the same stuff that I speak to my son, I kind of like give my son like this wide range of, okay, I understand you're not me, and you're not going to necessarily understand everything in every way that I'm putting it to you. So I have to be very careful when giving advice, and I just give the basics, man. That's it. I just give the basics, and find your purpose in life. And even for someone that's way older than the both of us, they still haven't found their purpose. Yeah. So it's like you telling a 22-year-old to find your purpose, knowing that half the people that's twice his age haven't found their purpose. Yeah. It's like, damn, like, so how do you tell somebody to find their purpose? Like, how do you do that? Man, he's just stay positive, man. Just stay positive and focus, and stay away from all the distractions. You stay away from all the distractions, you'll grow the way you need to grow. And even with dipping into some distractions, if you survive from those distractions, conflict builds character, comfort doesn't. So you'll grow. So it's just just live life the best way you see fit.
Top stuff. Where can people find you, bro?
On Instagram at Bryant Jennings and on Twitter at Bryant Jennings. Yeah, I had my Instagram and Twitter for quite a while. For people it's BY, not By Jennings, because people would see me and say, "Oh, that's By. Hey, By." But like, By. No, it's BY. That's my nickname. It's BY Jennings on Instagram and Twitter.
When's your next fight, do you think?
So, like I stated early in the in the interview, it was
3-6 months.
Yeah,
discipline.
3 to 6 months that I want. It might not take that long.
Okay,
because
cool.
I might feel comfortable enough. I mean, shoot, the way things going right now, it's like, man, like if I could start an 8-week camp now and be like, yo, I'm straight, but I want to take more time to be focused.
Yeah.
So I want to at least try to do 3 to 6 months of preparation before I go back ham.
Yeah.
To where I was like, look, it's whatever with whoever.
Yeah.
And so I'm not really sure of a fight just yet. And that fight can come within 3 to 6 months. At the same time, don't want to rush it, but that's just a question I don't have an answer to.
Yeah. Well, no doubt when people start following you, if they don't already, they're going to see it on your Insta. Yeah. And also, people just got to watch Game Changers. If you haven't seen it, you've got to fucking watch it. It's incredible. Yeah, sure. It's on Netflix. The very last question. My quote, my ethos, my catchphrase almost is "Be happy, never content." I came up with this quote some time ago when I got into sales, and there's a reason why I came up with it. But rather than me tell you my reason, if I were to say, Bryant, give me your version, give me your description of what "be happy, never content" really means to you.
Yeah, well, be happy, don't be content is pretty much just do what makes you happy. Do what makes you happy, and even sometimes when you want to make adjustments, because some people save face for other people's happiness. So it's all about what makes you happy, and
never content.
Never content. So just understanding that you're always growing. And you may offend some people. And some people may offend you, but just always try to work on your happiness, because your happiness is one main part of your health. And it weighs heavy on your heart and weighs heavy on your mental when you're unhappy. So always strive for happiness. And just because you found happiness doesn't mean that it's going to be happy for the rest of your days. Happiness is just like success. It's an ongoing thing. There's not one point of happiness to where it's okay, I'm happy forever. There's not one point of success where you say, okay, I'm successful forever. Because you can be a mile into success, but a foot away from failure at all times. So always be happy and never content. Work on your happiness. That's the most important thing for you.
Top stuff.
Yeah.
Bryant, thank you for your time, mate.
All right, thank you.
Nudge, brother.
All right.
And all the best for the future. All the best for the future, and I'll be very, very much looking forward to seeing you back in the ring, bro.
Thank you.
God bless you.
All right.
Take care.